These are 5 frustrating things that your reactive dog does that you didn't know were normal. And you're definitely going to want to save and share this with your reactive dog friends. Number 1 is inconsistency. And this one's a tricky one because oftentimes, our dogs have specific triggers, but other things can be influencing their threshold at the moment. Things like distance, how intense their trigger is. So if it's another dog, if the pointy end of the dog is facing them, or is the dog making eye contact, things like that. The angle of approach can also factor into how intense it is. And then, how long are they having to deal with their trigger, because duration can make it, more challenging for your dog over time. So it might seem like sometimes your dog reacts out of nowhere, but underneath it, your dog has their own kind of threshold meter that may be a moving target. Number 2, your reactive dog is unresponsive in front of their triggers. And this is super normal and to be expected, because if your dog is over threshold, their entire, brain and nervous system is completely offline. So even things that they're normally familiar with, cues and things like that, they might not be able to perform if they are in the midst of a reactivity meltdown. Number 3 is regression. You might see a lot of good progress with your reactive dog, and then out of nowhere, it might appear that they are all of a sudden doing much worse. And this is normal, and there can be a lot of different reasons why this is happening. But I think the main thing to kind of remember and to give ourselves grace with is that progress is very rarely linear. And it just might mean that your dog might need a little break from training, give them a few days of management to kind of reset, and then try it again at an easier level, and then see if you can get your traction back. Number 4, your reactive dog is out looking for trouble, especially at the fences in the houses where they know their frenemies live. So this is really common. It's because our reactive dogs are just vigilant, and they are anxious about especially predictable triggers. So they're going to be on the lookout for that. So it might look like your dog is just out for a fight, but it's because, they are in a heightened state and they aren't necessarily relaxed and comfortable out on our walks. So that's something that obviously you would want to work on in training. And number 5 is your reactive dog is ignoring food. This is actually a really good barometer to tell if your dog is still in their kind of learning mode. If they are eating treats out on the walk and then maybe the trigger is a little too close and all of a sudden they stop eating, that's a really telltale sign of a stress response. So we want to make sure that we're moving our dogs further away from their trigger so that they can calm down and then they can eat food again. So we can definitely use food and whether or not they're eating as part of the measurement of how they're doing in their internal state. Which of these 5 have you experienced with your reactive dog? Let us know in the comments below.